No one believed Austin for the first time he told his story, and as the years went by, everyone became more and more concerned at his steadfast conviction and its veracity. Austin was 7 years old when his mother took him to the ice rink. She said it was time for him to learn to skate. This somewhat confused the boy, as she hadn't told him she wanted him to learn to skate before that day. She just dropped him off at the indoor ice rink and left him with a couple and their 5 boys. The boys were all older than Austin and didn't seem interested in skating with him. Their mother showed him how to put his skates on and tie the laces, but he was a beginner. He couldn't keep up with the 5 boys who were all experienced skaters. It was maybe an hour or two later when Austin realized that the family had left the rink. He had been pathetically hugging the wall of the rink, attempting to stay upright, while skating when the familiar feeling of absence hit him. It wasn't the first time this had happened. Austin was used to being left behind and forgotten about, like at the day at the fishing camp, where he spent the whole time fumbling with his kiddie pool, while the other 2 instructors focused on helping the kids who actually had the chance of catching something, or the Renaissance Fair when he was left with another family of strangers who turned him left and right in the acrobatics and juggling show and came back for him for several hours later. By that point, we had watched the whole dozen show times, at least when he had gotten to spend some time talking with one of the fair performers. Austin was now cold and sore from falling down, and he wanted to get off the rink. He didn't think his mom would have minded if he took a break. It took him some struggling, but he managed to get back in the rink entrance and take off his skates at the bleachers. There was a small video arcade nearby, and his mother had already given him money to use it for food and games. Occasionally, the other kids and sometimes their parents would drift in and out of the arcade, but for the most part, Austin was alone. There was a hockey arcade game he found it much more enjoyable than actually skating himself. As he played the game, he had thought about what his mother had told him, and then he voiced his fears about ice skating. Austin was perpetually afraid that he would fall through the ice and drown, that he would just fall through, or that there would be too many people on the rink and the ice wouldn't support all their weight, resulting in ice breaking and them falling through the water. His mother reassured him that such thing would not happen, and that the modern indoor ice rinks simply didn't work that way, that it was just 2 inches of ice on the concrete floor, and it was kept frozen and polished and replenished every hour or so by that big machine. There was no possibility of falling through the ice. The rink was perfectly safe. Well, it didn't feel perfectly safe, even if there was no water under the ice. He had seen people got hurt on the crowded rink and had nearly been run over several times by bigger skaters. He would sense that even at his age, that the rink was too crowded and that something might happen. There were too many people jostling about. Too many sharp blades, and staff from the rec center seemed to be nowhere in sight. Plus skating, he could swear he could feel the rink tremble once or twice. Austin was relatively successful with the game. Side distractions were on the few things that he could consider himself actually good at due to the amount of time he spent on them and all the places his mother took him. But now he was bored, so he quit the game and went back to the rec center lobby. The lobby was empty. Even the receptionist and the person renting skates were nowhere to be seen. On the rink now there was just a mother and 2 children. They looked happy even with their inexperienced falls. Austin looked at the bulletin board and near the lobby entrance. Behind a glass covering were several flyers, though he was just learning to read. Austin could tell for various community events, hiking trips, workshops, music, and dance classes, workout programs even. He thought back to the last place his mother had dropped him off, a day camp with arts and crafts and the like. He kept thinking about that 2 camp counselors that had been saying to each other when they thought that they were out of earshot. While they were waiting for his mom to pick him up, it was late evening, and all the other kids had already gone home. Austin didn't know why their words kept echoing in his head, but he kept thinking about them as he stood there alone in the empty community center lobby. A kid's mom barely slowed the car down enough for him to jump out. Drove right off even. Yeah, she's not picking up the phone. This is typical sometimes. The boy obviously doesn't know what he's doing here. I bet if you ask him, he'd say he's been to a lot of... As Austin's pounded over his memory, he heard a sudden rumbling coming from the ice rink. He turned to his gaze to the position lobby. The mother and two kids were in the center of the ice. They looked confused and unsure, and no longer skating. There was a second rumble, and the three people on the ice looked about frantically. When the rink started moving, it slowly started turning over counterclockwise, rumbling and scraping as the perimeter appeared and widened around it. The mother frantically grabbed her children's hands in the attempt to skate them off the rink, but they fell down and were unable to right themselves as the rink kept spinning faster and faster. The bleachers all folded up, and the space between the ice and the wall kept growing wider, revealing a pitch-black chasm. That's when Austin realized that while the rink was spinning, it was also sinking. He watched as the helpless family was lowered into the abyss until they disappeared. There was a final terrible rumble, and they were gone. A few moments later, as the bleachers unfolded and the rink, no longer spinning, rose back up, the wall closing in and around it. Within seconds, it sat there undisturbed, as though nothing had happened, apart from the fact that the ice had appeared to be newly polished. Austin was still staring dumbfounded, shocked 3 hours later, and when the police arrived to look into the disappearance of the mother and two children, Austin didn't tell them what happened until his own mother arrived, hugging him and crying about how worried she had been when she pulled up and saw the police. Naturally, the cops assumed that the boy had seen something traumatic that caused his mind to fabricate such a story out of shock. There was one thing, though. Austin wasn't the only one who had seen it. There was another boy, and older than Austin, who had been left at the rink by his parents and was sitting alone in the small party room overlooking the rink. There was never any indication that the boys knew each other or had even met, yet the stories were identical, and each told it through the panicked tears. The detectives also found small cracks in the glass, as if harsh vibrations had reverberated through it, and no one had noticed the ceiling of the rink appeared to have been splattered with water. In any case, that was the last time Austin's mom ever left him alone in a public place. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.